that's what we're doing. Let's do it. Okay. So we're gonna just assume you're kind of late to the party, Austin. They got the foot over the head and everything like that. They're already connected. We're gonna connect, obviously, to buy ourselves time. But the most important thing to remember is it's either about your elbow or it's about shoulder mobility, right? If my elbow can get of this nature, right, and this bottom leg can't be a platform, right? So like right now I'm still in danger. If he decides to try to break my hand, see how I can shelf it on his thigh, and this can break, right? If I'm over here doing this, and he tries to shelf it on his thigh, there's nothing, right? So you have to be able to shelf it on something. Normally we say we shelf it on our body, right? If he goes for a traditional armbar, see how my elbow is shelved on his body, and he's controlling my shoulder, right? I can alleviate a lot of this pressure by doing something like this. You would not think that this is smart, right? Because I'm turning into it. But his ability to shelf my elbow is limited, and now my shoulder mobility is now increased. Now, if someone's able to sit you back down, you broke your elbow, right? But this is a thing that you can do, and you can also stack people's feet from here, and then come back in, right? As a principle, don't let your elbow get shelved, right? And we want our shoulder line, right, or mobility to be free. This is why if if my face is controlled, I can't sit up, right? Well, when we do this, when we put our hand underneath or any of that kind of stuff, or we're in here trying to lock it up, any of the traditional styles, let me get here again, like this, right? All of these forms are literally just for me to do this, so I can basically come up. But what is it really doing? It's freeing my shoulder, right? It doesn't matter if this foot is across my face, right? If I can sit up, right? From here, my shoulder disappear, I'm safe. So, with that in mind, every kind of escape that you're like, oh, is this like an escape? When we lift up this leg, right? What am I doing? Bringing the head, now letting my elbow be shelved, right? The one that I would say is probably the least common, if we're going south. My elbow can't be shelved, right? Even if you hold on, right, and I can't get it back, I know I'm not going to get arm barred like that, so then I can start to turn in, and then I can go into my own kind of like banana splits or whatever I want. Tracking? Okay. So, for starters, I just want you to sit here like this, right? And I want you to turn down, up, and just kind of like move in this position, and don't open your hands, right? Just want you to sit here and move. See how you can move, what gives you the most resistance. If I move like this, how it feels. If I move down, how it feels. Turning, rotationally. And this should be very telling of where your power is going to come from once you figure this part out. Cool? Give it a few moves. Loose. So you got a little bit of fears and stuff like that for what it's like to be right here, right? And never letting your hands go. So, being here, I can, as we were saying, there's different grips, right, that I can take, but all of the goals are the same, right? I want to increase my shoulder mobility and not let my elbow get platformed in the meantime. If I just do this, right, and I'm like, I'm going to do this, he's going to break my arm, right? Because I've not done it efficiently, right? He still has the ability to shelf and has enough control of my shoulder that he can break it, right? If I just scoot away, right, this increases my time that I have for him to do stuff, but if I'm like, oh, I'm away, or I'm going to let go, still broken, right? Keep contact. Don't let your unsupported thing, crawl back in here, make it tight. Anyway, don't let your unsupported thing become less supported, right? You have two things fighting his four right now. Don't let it get worse to being one fighting four. So how do we improve our odds? Well, use your elbows, right? This elbow should be being busy, right? If I want it, this elbow should be filled here then. And I should be using this hand to be making space. Or I should be using this elbow, making space. I should use this elbow to make space. Utilize this elbow. It will be your saving grace, right? Even if I come like this, and I just get this much, I'm pretty safe right now, right? Because if he goes to armbar me, I just relax. I can just lay down. So, is there other things I can employ? Yeah, I got feet. My feet should be busy, right? Cutting an angle. If he goes to armbar me now, even with this on top, it never came off. Try to armbar. Whee, I'm gone. Because I'm just cutting angle. Obviously being nice, right? Now, I could do the same thing like this. We call it a hitchhiker. If you're going this direction though, you have to free your shoulder. If you just go like this, you are now giving him your shoulder, and this is going to fuck you up. So when we do this, we start to rotate as well. You see how I've lifted? If I don't lift and I just rotate, I am already at a point of max extension, basically. This way, a little bit more freeing. The problem is, it's hard to get your elbow free if you go this direction. This way, you see how my elbow gets less platform? It opens it up. This way, I start to go deeper into the platform. Each side has its downsides, right? So, you have to make and pick a combination of the two, right? So if I was going this direction, that works. If I was here, right, and I start going like this, right, that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? My shoulder's still trapped. I can still get platformed, and I've not increased my space. So, if I'm here, right, even just doing this, pick a combo that works. So, I want you to sit here, right, still keeping your hands closed, don't open them, we'll get to the point where we open, right, either be here or here, right, and then work using feet and using your elbow. Okay? All right. Here we go. So now that we're done talking about ourselves, we get to talk about the person who's doing the thing, right? His ability improves, right, with his ability to, how would you do an arm, right? He's going to, go ahead. Just apply the armbar. See how his extension, right? And after he gets to the point of extension, he adds what we would consider pressure under the joint, right? So he's going to take me under extension, but he's also going to extend himself, right? No matter what armbar you ever see, even if I'm up here, he is now going to start to extend and apply pressure, right? So I know he needs to extend as the attacker, right? So if I can lessen the ability to extend, right? If I was here and I simply did something like this, right? He goes to finish, I've increased my chances or time. Right? Do the same thing, cool, right? Or if we stack them, right, which is probably the most common one you see, come here. How can you go into extension? Well, now it's just a leg press, right? And because I have one of the fulcrum of the legs, right, it makes it very hard for him to leg press. If I didn't, right, he tries to leg press, he still has great ability to do so, right? So how do I lessen it? Well, sometimes you just lay the fuck down, right? But the principle is, don't let them extend, right? If you can stop extension, you should be able to mitigate the ability for them to do this armbar. So here, even just this, buying time, keeping control, right? Start to rotate, come up. Now I can let go of this type of extension and work. Does that make sense? Anything to add? Okay, so to perform an armbar, you need some form of extension, and oftentimes, against higher level people, you need some form of rotation, right? Limiting rotation is going to be another aspect of this, but work on controlling extension first. That's the primary focus, right? If I control rotation, but don't control extension, right? I'm here, he extends me out, right? I'm like here, I'm like, haha, he could still break my elbow. He just has to apply enough force or change their angle, exactly. So like, if I'm here and I'm like, I can stop him from rotating, right, and getting more power. This does not mean I'm not in danger, because he can still extend. I've not stopped any form or fashion of him extending and being able to break me. Does that make sense? Now, where rotation comes in, right, say I'm defending like this, right, and he starts to rotate, right, you see how my arm is still in danger, all right, and is isolated still? I have to be able to stop some form of it, or apply my own, right? And how do I lessen his rotation? I move with it, right? So if he rotates my hand like this, right, I can go with that rotation. Right, right? He rotates my hand the other direction. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, give it a try.